Hello guys, I am Hassan, a postdoctoral research fellow at Guangzhou University, and today I'll be sharing my experiences on how to write a review article. Review article can be a very tedious and a boring job for the beginners who are just starting the research, but of course it gets interesting as you go deep in the literature. So the first and the foremost step in writing a review article is to define your boundary. You have to sketch, you have to make a boundary in which you will focus that review article. For example, since I am a material scientist, I'll be taking my own example, and then you will be supposed to implement that example into your scenario. For example, if I am interested to write a review article on fibers, let's say, so now there are hundreds of materials which can be produced as fibers. So now I have to narrow down that, okay, no, I am not working on all of the types of fibers. I am specifically working on graphene fibers. So I started with a general body and then I narrowed it down to graphene fibers. It is still not enough. You have to narrow it more. For example, graphene fibers can be produced by various techniques. For example, CVD is a very famous technique to produce fibers, or vacuum filtration is also another technique to produce graphene fibers. But I have to narrow down that no, I will not be reviewing the papers of CVD, I will not be reviewing the papers of vacuum filtration. My target is wet spinning, let's say, or electro spinning. Whatever is my focus, I have to make it the center of my article. So even then, once we produce graphene fibers through wet spinning, even those wet spin graphene fibers can be used in a wide range of applications, ranging from textile, biomedical, or many other applications like water purification. But since I am interested in energy harvesting, so I further narrowed down my boundary that I will be focusing only on those papers which report the electrical or electronic properties of graphene fibers, like electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, electrochemical performance like specific capacitance, tensile strength, and strain. So let's say I took these 5 properties as my starting points. So how did I narrow down my research? First, I will focus on only graphene fibers prepared by only wet spinning, addressing only the electrochemical or electrical performances of the fibers. That is electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, tensile strength, strain, and electrochemical performance. So in this way, I have narrowed down my boundary, and this will help me a lot in my review. Okay, having defined the proper boundary, now is the time to start reading the literature. Now start reading the papers. The very starting point can be already published review article. You can take any review paper which was published previously, which is online available, and you can read it, and it can be your starting point. But definitely you cannot read 20 and 30 review papers and make your own review out of those 20 review articles. If you want to publish your review paper, you have to go deep and you have to read each and single paper of that particular area. Okay, but yes, definitely starting point can be already published review article. One very helpful technique which I used during my writing while I was compiling the paper was that as soon as I finished reading one paper, I always write 9 to 10 sentences about that paper which is relevant to my focus area, that is the electrochemical and electrical performances of graphene fibers. So as soon as I complete one paper, reading one paper, I don't leave my computer desk, I don't leave my laptop until and unless I write a summary of that paper. That summary has to be limited within 10 sentences, not more than 10 sentences, right? And that's the summary actually, right? This is a very useful technique because, for example, if you read 10 papers and to every paper you wrote one paragraph, then after reading 10 papers you have actually written 10 paragraphs which can be merged together, and that will be contributing as a manuscript of your review. Another very important weapon which can be used during review compilation is tabulate all of the results. For example, I mentioned properties like electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, strain, tensile strength, and electrochemical performance. So as soon as I complete one paper, I should make a table of each and every paper, and in that table I should mention all of the numeric values. In that table I will not be discussing anything that what happened in the paper, what was the reason of enhancement of any property. I will not be discussing anything on that table. That table contains only the numeric values of my focused properties. After reading 60 to 80 papers and simultaneously updating my table, that table enabled me to relate the paper published in 2019 with the paper published in 2013. For example, let's say there was a paper published in 2019 about graphene fibers with silver nanoparticles, let's say, in 2019. And when I saw the literature, there was a similar report in 2013. So that table gave me a very good platform to compare these two papers published in two different years, and this helped me a lot to generate some insights of those papers, and that is actually my substance, that is actually my input. The review article is not just reading papers and writing a summary of all of those papers. You have to give your input, you have to give your substance, you have to contribute yourself. And in my case, the table which I was preparing, which I was compiling along my literature review was a very useful thing, and at the end I was able to point out papers which were published in different years having similar properties, and then I was able to relate them, and I was able to give a conclusion which was actually my contribution to the scientific community. Another point which I think is very important to note, that when I was starting my review, things were very difficult. Every paper had something new to teach me. Every paper had some new ideas, new concepts, new phenomena being explained and discussed. But as soon as I reached a limit of around 80 papers, I started realizing that now as soon as I read more papers, the numeric values of electrical conductivity change, but the phenomena is not new for me. Why? Because I have already studied 80 papers, and almost after reading 80 papers I know everything about that field. So now reading any new paper does not increase my knowledge of the concept. Yes, it increases my knowledge in terms of numeric values. And that was the point when not only the review paper became interesting for me, but it turned out to be very easy for me, that I was able to just open the new published paper, just see the results, and I was able to understand the results very easily. So guys, there is still a lot to discuss about review articles, but of course I will end this video with a motivation to help you planning your review article. And my key points are: define your boundary, keep making a paragraph for every paper, and keep your data in a tabulated form. Best of luck.